The Louie T Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the Command Post Live. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. Of course, I'm your Commander-in-Chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Training Camp Confidential, day number 16. This is a surprise practice. Surprise! Didn't know this was going to happen. Didn't expect practice until tomorrow. Dan Quinn explained why practice happened today. And I'll tell you what, I like the answer. And he didn't really say what he wanted to say, but he didn't have to say it, right? We're going to talk about that. But before we get to anything Commanders related, the Commanders Kings had an event last night, and it was one for the ages. I just got to take this time and this opportunity to thank everybody that came out last night and made last night's event what it was. It was a reminder of what we've created here in this space and why we do this, right? Like, there's so much love out there, man. We felt the love last night, right? And I hope y'all felt it too. Like, it was so genuine. It was so organic. Nothing was forced. It was just a bunch of Commanders fans linking up just to have a good time, enjoy the vibes, and prepare for what we think is going to be an extremely successful season for the Washington Commanders. We had a great time chopping it up, talking about what we've seen thus far, things that need to change, and hopefully what the season is going to ultimately look like. And as we embark upon this final week of training camp prior to the 53-man roster cuts, we talked about the roster, but more importantly, man, we just enjoyed being in each other's space, man, occupying space with one another. It was a good time. You know, it's hard to get me outside of the house, man. I don't be outside. Y'all know that, right? That's one of the running jokes. But I was outside, and it felt good to be outside amongst my people, as I always like to say, man. If it's one thing that'll get me out of my house, it's to be amongst my people. Don't always love the environment, like going to, Northwest to come see my people at times. But events like that are what it's all about. And last night was epic. I didn't even know if I was going to have a voice today. Rio said he's taking the day off because he doesn't have a voice right now. Like, we left it all out on the field, so to speak. And last night, it was epic. The mics kept going in and out. Every time we do these events, we learn so much. And we learned a lot more yesterday. I met so many people, put faces to names now. And I love, that's one of my favorite things to do, because so many of y'all, I've been talking to y'all for years and years and never seen you. Shout out to my guy, Derek B. Finally met him in person last night, and his beautiful wife. And I told her, thank you for sharing him with me, because I know he probably drives you nuts with my show. And so many people that I met, I was like telling their significant others, thank you for sharing me, right? Or sharing him with me, because I know he probably drives you crazy listening to my show. You probably hear all kinds of times of the night, who else could it be? And they're like, God damn, that shit again. I know that at least once that has crossed their mind. Like, why the hell are you watching that dude again? So I wanted to express that to them. Like, hey, I really, truly do appreciate you for sharing him with me. Right. Like, and just the interactions with people, the genuine excitement for the upcoming season. It was a blast. Like, I can't even really begin to describe the feeling that comes over you when you're in an environment like that, where there's so much love. And what up, Dougalicious? Met Dougalicious last night, right? Like, that's what I was talking about, being able to put faces to names. Josh Gates, met Josh Gates last night. Just so many other people that I met, man. Met Ace last night. So when I see those names pop up, I know who I'm talking to now. There's a face that I can associate with that name. So it was really dope, man. It was really dope. And shout out to Herb, my guy, see off the bench in the chat, man. Herb was extraordinary last night. He was basically the MC, holding us down, introduced us, also held down the Q&A session with the fans that were in attendance. It was an epic night, man. It was epic, and shout out to everybody that came out and made an epic night. So it's not the last time you're gonna hear me talk about it. Usually it takes about a week or two for us to come down from that high of an event. We've been talking about it all day. We was talking about it all last night. And we're going to be talking about it. And obviously we're going to have something on the King's channel. You guys stay tuned for that. I'm going to reach out to my guy, Rocky D, who's also a member of the mob. He was the one who did the work last night. He did such a great job. And we're going to be promoting his stuff, because when you see the footage he was able to get in, the work that he put in, if you got an event that you need done, Rocky D might be the man for the job. Also, shout out to Dulla. Dulla was huge last night with the photos. Y'all know how sharp his lens is. So can't wait to see the Dulla package that's supposed to be dropping at some point this evening. So looking forward to that, among other things. So shout out to all the sponsors that were in attendance. You know, they were awesome. And just met so many good people, man. Like, that's what it's about. I'm a people person. Like I told y'all, I'm an introverted extrovert. So like, it's crazy because I love being around people, but I don't. Like, I want to go in the bank. My wife, she teases me all the time because I like being out on Black Friday, because I like being in the space. I like to physically touch my product. I don't like ordering shit offline because I can't try it on. I don't know what it looks like. It looked orange on the screen. You get it, and the shit is kind of like orange yellow, right? Instead of it just being straight orange. I like to be able to see and touch stuff. And I don't mind being amongst people, right? I like to go in the bank. I'm old school. She teases me all the time. Like, you can cash that check by taking a picture of it and signing endorsed in the back. And I'm like, yeah, but I want to go in the bank. I want to make sure my check is handed to somebody, and I know I get a receipt, and I know my shit has been, into the, and she makes fun of me all the time for being old. I don't give a shit, but I like being out. I like talking to people, but I also like being in my house, because in my house is safe. And I know ain't no crazy shit gonna happen, or at least it's not supposed to, right? So it's this fine balance. But man, last night was epic. Anyway, shout out to everybody. I met Juan Gotti, talk sports for the first time. Met my guy Tones, Protect Sports. Finally met him. We've been chopping it up for years. Finally met him last night. I met Grant from Full Command last night for the first time. That was dope. Met Kay from Kay's Take for the first time. Asia from Asia's Analysis, met her for the first time. So met 2/3 of the Command Hers. So that was really dope. Yeah, I met a lot of people last night. A lot of people that, again, I've either talked to, did shows with, but never actually met them in person. Met obviously Herb last night, and Herb was like an honorary commander last night. He was in our green room. He was around. Shout out to Herb and his kid. He was there too. It was dope. It's a dope experience, and can't wait till we can do it again, right? So shout out to everybody that was there. Shout out to all the people who made that event go off without a hitch or with minimal hiccups. There was so many people that had their hand in that, and yeah, it was great, man. RX Air 360, super clutch, one of the sponsors, one of the big sponsors of the show. They killed it last night, man. RX 360, you're gonna hear that name again. We're gonna be talking to them on the show I think tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. They were huge. They gave away a Hellraiser helmet. They gave away like an official $500 Hellraiser helmet. Like, what? they gave away a football. All the Kings signed it. We gave that away. We had 2 little mini Hellraiser helmets. All the Commander Kings signed that. We gave those away as well. All of that was sponsored and donated by RX 360 Air, or RX Air 360, excuse me. So yeah, man, it was an epic night. Obviously, we gave away the Kings jersey with the raffle. We had so many items that we kind of ran out of time to give the items away in the raffle. So we just started giving stuff away. Like it was crazy. We do have to be more organized with the raffle next time around. That was a little crazy. But then there's so much I can tell you about it, but I'm not going to talk your head off. You didn't come here for that. So let's get to today's happenings. Day 16 of training camp was a surprise. Was not supposed to be a practice today. This was not supposed to be an actual day of training camp. That wasn't supposed to be until tomorrow. So this conversation that we're having today, we weren't supposed to be having until tomorrow. But Dan Quinn thought that it was necessary to have practice today. And I like the fact that he did. Like, again, this is another sign that Dan Quinn understands this sense of urgency that we've seen from this team. This all throughout the offseason and really throughout camp, there's been a sense of urgency. The practices have been faster. They've been a much tougher camp. There's a sense of urgency. DQ talked about it in the offseason when he sat down with Evan Washburn. He talked about a greater sense of urgency. We can't afford to start slow. We can't. We got Philly and Dallas weeks 1 and 2 on the road, and then the Super Bowl defending champs coming to the home opener in week 3. We can't afford to start slow. There needs to be a sense of urgency. And I love that they played the starters, even though they could have kept that shit, to be honest with you. Starters played 2 plays on defense, 3 plays on offense, but at least they got out there, and to DQ's point, at least they went through the full process of preparing for a game. There's a sense of urgency, and I like it. And I felt like that sense of urgency continued today. So let's talk. All right, so we're going to jump into Dan Quinn's press conference from today, prior to practice, a practice that was not scheduled to happen. So he started the press conference by talking about this particular practice window. You know, he's been all about his windows this training camp, right? These blocks, if you will, right? So this is really the last block prior to 53-man roster cuts, okay? You're going to have a practice. You had a practice today. You have a practice tomorrow. And then Wednesday, you have the joint practice with the Ravens. You come back home. There's a walkthrough on Thursday. You have a game against Baltimore on Friday. And then you have to make your roster cuts down to from 90 to 53 by Monday, if I'm not mistaken, right? Either Sunday or Monday. I believe it's going to be Monday. I'll have to check on that. It's either Monday or Tuesday, one of those days early next week. So this is the last block of training camp. This is the last week before, roster cuts. Usually it's 48 hours after the last preseason game. Some teams, I think most teams are playing their preseason game either Thursday or Friday. I don't know if there's any that leak into the weekend on Saturday. Most of these games I think are going to be done by Friday. Maybe there's 1 or 2 on Saturday. I'd have to see what the preseason schedule actually looks like. As a matter of fact, I can look and tell. Normally the NFL likes uniformity as they get towards the end of training camp because they want to have everyone be done with their last preseason game so they can kind of turn their attention fully to the start of the regular season. So yeah, there's 2 games on Saturday, 2 preseason games on Saturday. So I would guess 48 hours from then is when you would have to make your roster cut. So I would guess Tuesday would be the day. Or Monday, excuse me. Maybe Monday by 4, Tuesday by 4 at the latest is when you'll probably have to make those roster cuts. And we'll start hearing about Commanders release this player and that player on Saturday and Sunday. It'll be a process they'll go through to trim it down to 53. But that's a conversation that we can have after the 3rd preseason game. Kind of feel like we know what the roster is going to look like. There are some individual players that bear mentioning that we're going to talk about in this particular conversation that DQ had today. I thought this was a really big press conference for DQ because he said a lot in his press conference and he gave us some real updates on guys that are injured. I think there was a lot of nutritional value. There's a lot of DQ press conferences that I cover with you guys because I know a lot of y'all like, man, I don't even watch DQ press conferences. There's so many people that tell me, bro, I don't even watch DQ press conferences. I just come to your show and let you tell me about it. Like, I don't need to consume that shit. I just want the details from it. And that's fine too, right? Some people just don't want to hear that shit from DQ. You rather hear it from me. So a lot of times his press conferences don't have a ton of nutritional value. You know, there's a lot of empty calories, a lot of junk food, you know, a lot of sugar and shit that you don't need, filler, if you will. There's some nutritional value in there, but you got to kind of parse through all of the non-nutritional value stuff to get to it. All the empty calories, if you will. This one was packed full of protein, right? Full of good calories, right? This was packed full of the stuff that you want, the stuff you need. Vitamin C, right? Some of those amino acids that you're looking for. You got a lot of that in this press conference. So he started by talking about the practice window. Practicing today, practicing tomorrow, then going up to Owings Mill to practice with the Ravens on Wednesday. And he said this is the crescendo. Like last week was a big week of practice. This week is a big week of practice. These are the last 2 weeks where they'll be whole as a 90-man roster before they trim down the roster. And he's like, we're going to go hard this week, just like we did last week. And then next week is, he said, when they start to wind down. And now you're going to take it easy on the players because now we got our roster set. We're going to take it easy on these guys, and we're going to start preparing for Philadelphia in week 1. So he then talked about why he decided to practice today. I thought this was important. There was not supposed to be practice today, right? I was not anticipating DQ speaking to the media and addressing the media today. I was prepared for that to happen tomorrow. I had a totally different show lined up for you guys today. And then lo and behold, I get up from my slumber and DQ has had a press conference and there's been day 16 of training camp practice. Wasn't expecting that. So I was anxious to see what his response was because I know why he did it, right? That man had a chance to digest that bullshit from Saturday. He sat down in his office and said, you know what? These mother effers don't need another day off on Monday. Let's get back on the practice field. We got work to do. And while we got 90 guys on the roster that allows us to run practice the way we want to with all the dudes that are out, the Adafioes, the KC-45s, the Rashad Whites, the Bills of the world, while we got all these Robert Henry Jr.'s and Craig Reynolds and all these guys that will allow us to run the practice the way we need to, let's take advantage of this shit. Because next week, if some of those dudes aren't ready to come back, and we'll get it, and I'm going to tell you what DQ said about that, we might not be able to run practice as effectively as we want to. So let's take advantage of these dudes being here so we can still run practice. Get their ass out there. The offensive line looked like shit last week against Detroit. Let's get their ass back on the practice field, right? We gave up a damn near 50-yard run to Josh Dobbs, bruh. Like, that shit is grotesque and disgusting. Let's get back on the practice field, right? We had a bunch of damn penalties. Let's get back on the practice field, right? Like, we didn't do a good enough job in the run game. Let's get back on the practice field. We rushed for less than 50 yards in the game, bro. A 4-quarter game against backups. Let's get back on the practice field. So I like the urgency from DQ to be like, nah. I watched the tape. And he said it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction to Saturday's game. What we say about DQ? When he start rubbing his head, bald head lie, right? That's a bald head lie. Shout out to Martin, right? DQ was lying when he said that. He started scratching his head. That was a bald head lie. Knee jerk, maybe not knee jerk, so maybe he wasn't lying. But this was a direct result of Saturday's performance. If they'd have went and played like they played against Miami in this game against Detroit on Saturday, do you think they practice today? No, they don't. Okay. He sat down, he digested that film. It was disgusting. It went down extremely hard. And he was like, yeah, nah. I think we need to get back on the practice field today. We need some work. So, and yeah, they do, right? So I can respect that. I love the fact that he determined that they needed another day of practice. Why the hell not? Why you got all these dudes here that are still active on your roster before this is trimmed down to 53. Let's get some work in. If we can get Terry and Jaden and this offensive line some work, the more the merrier. Let's get some work in. We can get this interior offensive line or the offensive line as a whole to run block a little bit better. Let's get that work in, right? We can get some more 7-on-7, 11-on-11 work. Let's do that. So he then talked about Tim Settle. So we got a bunch of injury updates today. We'll start with Tim Settle. Haven't seen him in a while, right? So he's like, Tim Settle is back to practice today. And not only is he back to practice today, similar to John Bates last week, and when he came back, he's all systems go. They expect, he even went as far as to say, yeah, Tim Settle gonna be in that joint practice against Baltimore on Wednesday too. Because normally he just say, yeah, Tim's gonna return to the field, and we'll kind of work him back into the swing of things. Nah, he's like, nah, Tim back, and Tim gonna be in that joint practice on Wednesday too. So that's good to hear, right? We need, with the injury to Daron Payne, the undisclosed injury to Daron Payne, and obviously Johnny Newton being out, you need all the depth you can have at defensive tackle. Settle's a huge part of that depth that we're looking for on that defensive line. So it's good to hear that he's going to be back in the mix. Rachaad White, he talked about him getting back to the practice field today as well. So that's also great news. He said now, Rachaad not going to be participating in team drills, just indie drills. That's it. It's a great sign though, because he didn't go to the side field, right? He's on the actual practice field. He is practicing with his teammates in terms of the individual drills, but not ready yet to return to team activity. That's cool. Take it nice and slow with Rachaad White, as they will with Bill, I would assume, because what's important is September 13th, week 1 on the road at Philadelphia, not this Friday's upcoming Friday's game against the Baltimore Ravens in the 3rd and final preseason game. He then gave us a Dietrich Wise update, and I don't really know what to make of this shit. We talked about Dietrich Wise yesterday at the Commander Kings event. That was a real topic of discussion. A lot of the base is kind of split on like how they feel about Dietrich Wise. I know Rio is like, Dietrich Wise is a coach. He's not an actual player on this team. And it's funny because he's not wrong. Like when you watch the mic'd up with Nick Cross and Dietrich Wise is going through the stretching line, he looks like an assistant D-line coach. He looks like he's on the staff. He does not look like a player. So I get why Rio would say that. But ultimately, Dietrich Wise is absolutely a part of this team. They value Dietrich Wise, not just as a member of this team, not just as a veteran, a leader, which is a huge part of why they love having him around, but they also value what he brings to the table as a defender. Like we saw what Dietrich Wise can be. He's physical. He's violent. He's a guy that can disrupt the run game, not necessarily known for his pass rush ability, but I think he's even more valuable this year than he was last year. Because you think about Dietrich Wise. Dietrich Wise is built to be a 5-tech. He's built to be a defensive end in a 3-4 defensive scheme. Well, we run a 3-4, basically. That is our base. When we started the game against Detroit, we had 3 defensive linemen on the field, 4 linebackers, right? 2 edges, 2 inside backers, and then we had 3 defensive linemen. Shy Tuttle was at the nose, Javon Kinlaw was at one end, and Charles Omenihu was at the other defensive end. I'd much rather have Dietrich Wise as that other defensive end if you were going to do that, right? If you were going to do that. So I think in a game setting, it probably would be Tim Settle at the nose and Daron Payne as your other defensive end. That's how you would start the game, I believe. Personally, I could be wrong about that. But even if they decided to, switch it around and have, Daron at the nose and, Dietrich Wise at the other end, there's so many combinations you can play around with. And that's the beauty of what they've assembled. And Dietrich Wise is a part of that. So the update today was like, okay. I don't really know what to do with that per se, but I guess that's positive news. Or should I be alarmed? So DQ basically was like, yeah, with Dietrich, and I knew it was about to be some kind of raggedy ass, convoluted answer, because when DQ has a straightforward answer, whether the dude is not ready or he's ready, he just gets to it. DQ was like, yeah, on Dietrich, and I was like, oh shit, here we go. He was like, yeah, so he had a pretty positive report. He just had another evaluation. He's not quite ready yet, but we like how he looks. We don't know if he's going to start the season on the PUP list. And I'm like, oh shit, wait a minute. We still talking PUP? After all this time, we still talking PUP potentially? He's like, yeah, I don't really know what's going to happen. We're going to evaluate him again before the season starts to figure out, how he's going to be placed. They got to make a decision here shortly, right? He's going to make the 53-man roster. That we know that. They're not placing him on IR. So he's going to be a part of the 53-man roster. The question is, he's already on the PUP list, so they don't have to do anything. He's not counting towards their 53-man roster. So let me correct myself. He's already on the PUP list. He hasn't been removed from the PUP list. And if they think he's going to have to start the season on PUP list, they don't have to do anything. Just leave him on the PUP list. He's going to have to miss the first 4 games, I believe, of the season if he's on the PUP list to start. But sounds like his ass gonna miss the first 4 games anyway. But DQ was like, we feel really good about the reports we've gotten. He had a really serious injury, and he's coming along nicely. And he's been out on the field. We've seen him. We saw proof of life. I showed you that in like the second week of training camp. I showed proof of life. He was walking to the practice field. He's been out on the side field getting in work and things of that nature. So he's getting closer, but like, how close? Closer than close. Yeah. Let's get closer. Closer than most. How close is close? As a wise man once said, he's a week away from being a week away from being a week away. Like, how close are we talking? My guess is Dietrich Wise starts the season on the PUP list, and we don't see that man until like week 5 or 6. That's my guess. But he's going to be a part of this team at some point this year. So it's kind of a weird update, but thought we would be closer than where we are. I thought Dorrance would be the guy that took the longest, to be honest. So apparently Dietrich Wise's injury was a lot more, and I knew it was a serious injury, but it's a lot more serious than I was giving it credit. Then he was asked about the green dot was DQ, and he basically said, we haven't decided fully on who the green dot guys. Yes, they have. It's Frankie, but he said between Sonny and Frankie, that's where the green dot will lie. Basically, it's Frankie, and when Frankie's out of the game, it'll be Sonny. That's the end of the discussion. There's nothing else to talk about. Then he got into the Detroit game. They asked him about the Detroit game. You could tell he was annoyed by the Detroit game, as he should be. There wasn't a lot of good after the first 2 defensive possessions. And maybe that stretch of Ethan Kaliak man is coming in and moving the football and hitting those deep balls and having a little bit of rhythm offensively. They still didn't get in the end zone. They didn't score a single offensive touchdown in the game, which is disgusting. Outside of that pocket with Ethan Kaliak man is the throws to Jaden Bradley, Nick Nash, and Antonio Williams, and the 2 defensive series to start the game. There wasn't much positives to take away from this game. That and the sacks too. I thought the pressure on the quarterback was really good, but there wasn't a lot. Like, we weren't good on 4th down. Situationally, we weren't good in this game. He talked about all that. So he started with the Josh Dobbs run, and he was pissed. He was like, yeah, nah. He was like, so on the Josh Dobbs run, and he said the long Josh Dobbs run. He's like, yeah. He had to let you know, hey, that's Josh Dobbs. His ass ain't supposed to be running that goddamn long. He's like, yeah, I mean, they got us with the shit. They caught us off guard, caught us with our pants down. Cool. But he ain't supposed to score no damn touchdown, though. He's like, they caught us in man coverage. But at some point, you on the backside, you got to rally. Okay, defensive end crash down. Let that be a lesson learned, right? Joshua Joseph's rookie. Rookies do rookie shit, right? Got caught, not staying home outside with his keys, right? His job is outside contain on that play. And you let your linebacker scrape inside, right? So that would have been that would have been Sonny Styles being able to contain the run had he given the football off. Your job is not to crash inside and chase the run on the backside of that thing. Your job is to stay at home. And he didn't. That's why Dobbs pulled the ball out and took off. And DQ was like, but damn, with a backside pursuit, where's like, that shouldn't be a touchdown. And that's the thing that shocked all of us. Like, okay, if he would have gotten 23 on the play, you'd have been like, damn, that's Josh Dobbs going for 23. But all right, let's see if we can get a stop. Josh Dobbs went for like 40 and a score. Like, what's going on right now? Why is there nobody at home? So he was really disappointed with that. And then that shit opened up Pandora's box. And then DQ just started having essentially Detroit diarrhea of the mouth. He just went off on like all the shit. It's like, we had too many damn penalties. I told the team that this shit was not good enough. He said that we were in disarray. There was no complimentary football. We had too many penalties. We didn't execute. He said, I thought against Miami, we executed in the gotta have it moments, which are the 2-minute situation before the half, the end of game 4-minute situation. We did both of those things well last week. We got the touchdown right before half against Miami, and we had the 4-minute drill at the end of the game to basically salt the game away, take knees, and end the game in victory formation. We didn't do any of that shit. We got the ball right before half. We didn't even get a first down, gave it right back to Detroit. They ended up getting a field goal attempt. They did not make it, but they ended up, kicking a longer field goal, having a field goal attempt before the half. At the end of the game, Robert Henry fumbles, so that killed any opportunity of 4-minute offense there. But then the defense gets the stop and gets the ball back with a chance. Then after the Henry fumble, you had a chance with 3 timeouts. If you could just get a stop, you get the ball back one more time, and the defense couldn't get a stop on 4th down. First of all, they gave up too many yards on the ground. They just ran it 3 times. If they would have gotten stops, they would either forced Detroit to kick the field goal to go up 7, or they would have, put them in a position where if they decided to go for it, they weren't going to get it. But they gave too many damn yards on the ground, and then on 4th down, they gave up. It's like 4th and 2, and it was a long 2. They gave up a first down, and so DQ was like, we weren't good in situational football. We had too many penalties. We didn't run the football well at all. We really were dominated on the line of scrimmage offensively, and he's right. And he said, so there's a lot to clean up. And I told the team that's not us. That I don't know who that team was on Saturday afternoon. That shit wasn't us. And we got to be better. And that's why they had practice today. And even though he tried to say that it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction, that's why they had practice today. Okay. And I like that shit. Like, don't sweep that shit under the rug and act like that performance was okay. We didn't score an offensive touchdown. We got the football to the first team offense at midfield after the Quan Martin interception, and we went backwards. That shit was not okay. We had less than 50 yards of rush offense in a 4-quarter game. That's not okay. We did not score a single offensive touchdown. That is not okay. Offensively, we did not look sharp. Offensive line did not look sharp. You have questions at the center position. There's a lot of issues with penalties. You did not play complimentary football. You didn't execute in critical situations like before the half and at the end of the game. Yeah, I'd say that that's not the type of brand of football or representative of what you want this team to look like in 2026. That looked like the 2025 version of this team. So I love the fact that he's like, nah, that shit ain't cool. We going to the practice field today. We're supposed to have a day off. Y'all F that up. Let's hit the field. That's the sense of urgency I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Then he talked about the safety position as a whole. And, he loves the safety position, feels like it's a very deep group. But he singled out 2 guys in particular, Quan Martin and Tyler Owens. And he said that Quan, really expressing himself through the interceptions, is showing his comfort in this scheme. I really want Quan to win, bro. That's a 2nd-round pick, man. Like, you want those to pan out. I would love nothing more than for Quan to just ball this year and find a way back here next year, because this is the last year of Quan's rookie contract. I would love nothing more than for him to finally have the light switch come on. I told you, everybody's different. Some guys, it take 4 years for them to figure the shit out. And for Quan, it might have been finally being in a system that represents him well, that fits to his skill set. Durante might finally have something that allows Quan, because Quan, one thing you can't say about Quan is a playmaker. Quan always finds himself around the football. Somebody corrected me about the Chargers fumble last year that he caused. He didn't punch it out. He just put his helmet, and shoulder right on the football. It doesn't matter. He forced that fumble. Would I have preferred him to actually attack the football actively with his hand? Yeah, because that means you sought that out. But I really don't give a shit how the ball ends up on the ground. If you force a fumble, whether you purposely did it or your violence, like Amit didn't go punch the football out from Joshua Dobbs on Saturday afternoon. He just put a violent hit on him and his shoulder hit the football. That shit came squirting out. Like, I don't give a shit how the ball finds the ground. If we're producing the ball onto the turf, onto the carpet, that's what we want. More opportunities at the football. Quan forced that fumble against the Chargers last year. Quan gets his hands on the ball. Like, he had to pick against the Giants that didn't count because Bobby Wagner was flagged for roughing the passer. But Quan finds himself in positions around the football, man. So 2 interceptions in 2 games in the preseason this year. I have every reason to believe that Quan will be out on the field in the 3rd preseason game, if not for very long, out there just a little bit. Maybe he won't be, but Quan has looked comfortable, and DQ basically said it's good to see Quan looking, like Quan, basically, to start this, campaign off. And Tyler Owens, just getting him comfortable around the line of scrimmage. Talked about that blitz that he had. Obviously, that's what they want from him. Him going downhill, using that speed, athleticism, and physicality. DQ said that's what we get from him on special teams. So if we can apply that on defense, we feel like we got another guy that can be a very problematic player for your offenses to have to deal with. And I've loved what I've seen from Tyler Owens as a blitzer this preseason. Had a couple of clean blitzes against Miami. Ball just came out before he could get there, but clearly they have a plan for Tyler Owens when he's on the field, and that's for him to be aggressive and attack the line of scrimmage. And that's the only way Tyler Owens should be utilized. Don't ask that man to be thinking out here. He's a meathead when it comes to what we need to ask him to do. On special teams, run down and hit the first thing you see moving, bro, with the football. It ain't nothing to think about, right? Just give him no think operations and duties and assignments. All right, on this play, you blitzing off the edge, just go down and like on some water boy shit. I go after the quarterback, and unless he gives the ball to the running back, and if he does that, then I did not just tackle him. Yeah, that shit right there, Tyler. Whoever got the ball, just hit them. So talked about those 2 in particular. Gave us a Bill update. Said Bill is going to be leading the charge of a group of players that will be on the side field. So I am of the mindset, I have to assume that he's referring to the Kaylavon Chaisons or the KC-45s. The Adafi Oways, the Deron Paynes of the world, those guys that missed the game. He said basically that crew that missed the game on Saturday, they're going to be working on the side field. Because remember, Jordan McGee is a part of that crew as well. He said, look, there are no significant, injuries amongst this group. It's just a lot of maintenance stuff that we just want to be on top of. Preventative maintenance, if you will. So those guys will be working on the side field. Bill would be a part of that group working on the side field. He said those guys will not participate in the joint practice this week against Baltimore. Those guys will not participate in any of the practices this week. And the goal is to then reevaluate those players in hopes that they'll be ready to hit the practice field on Sunday. I think they're going to have a practice on Sunday. If they don't have a practice on Sunday, next week, he said. And maybe he said that the evaluation will happen Sunday in hopes to have them back next week. But I know they're taking it easy next week anyway. DQ, basically said as much once they trim that roster down to 53. I'm assuming that they're not going to practice on Sunday because they're trimming the roster down on Sunday. Maybe there's an evaluation that will be done on Sunday in lieu of the 53-man rosters being crystallized, and they'll be back on the practice field probably like Tuesday is my guess. So Bill's on the practice field. Sounds like he's going to be okay. But he's going to be on the side field along with a host of other guys. He talked about the decision to platoon quarterback. So remember, they had that weird substitution with the quarterbacks where one would play a possession, and the next possession, the other guy would come in, and the next possession, the other guy would tell him, and the next guy was going to come in. So I didn't love it. I understood his rationale after the game when he explained that when you talk about, we got a bunch of backup quarterbacks on the staff, guys that played in the league that were backup quarterbacks, including our offensive coordinator, David Blau, and the assistant quarterbacks coach that they brought in here from Purdue. They both said that as a backup, there isn't this preparation that you get. You don't get reps during the week. You just have to stay ready. And generally, when you are thrusted into a game, it's not a situation where you're prepared. That's the life of a backup. Like literally, hey, 2nd down and 7, go in there, bro. It's almost like a relief pitcher. You know, once upon a time, relief pitchers would inherit what another guy, you know, had. Like they would take a guy out in the middle of an at bat. Like he's struggling. Let's get him out of there. And he'd walk into a 2-1 count. Like, all right, bro, find a way to get this dude out. We can't afford to walk this guy. Put him on the base paths, right? That's kind of how it is for a backup quarterback. Like, hey, bro, need you to go in here. It's 3rd and 3 or, you know, 3rd and 7. I remember Kirk Cousins very vividly, 2012. That was like high-level backup coming into a game and into a crazy situation. It's 3rd and 10. Got to have it against the Ravens. Robert just got hurt. And Kirk comes in and throws a dot for like 27 yards to Pierre Garçon to get us within striking distance. And we had to have it, bro. That's the life of a backup. So they're trying to simulate that. I don't like it. I'll just be honest with you. I'm not concerned with guys being prepared right now because this is the 3rd quarterback, you know, position that we're talking about here, not the backup quarterback necessarily. I just want to see guys in an environment that gives them the best chance to succeed. But he explained further today, right? He expounded upon the answer he gave us on Sunday, and it makes a ton of sense. He's like, look, we're not trying to create an environment for these guys that's easy for them to adjust to. We want them to be in a stressful situation here. We want them because that's what coming into a game is. It's stressful. You're getting thrusted into a game that you weren't prepared to go into. And he's like, also, we want them going up against the same stuff. We want to try to get them as many reps with the same guys on the field against the same defense as possible. That makes a lot of sense. Like, because you'll see Sam Hartman out there and he's going up against the best that Detroit had to offer. When he came in for Marcus early in it, he's going up against the best that Miami had to offer, right? The best that they were going to put on the field that night. And then he played the whole first half in the first possession of the 3rd quarter. And then Ethan got the table scraps. So, of course, Ethan's going to come in and look sharp and throw dots. So instead of one getting the benefit of worst players being on the field, how about we let y'all both get some of these Detroit starters in this game? How about we let y'all both get some of that? How about we both let y'all get some work with Diami and Traylon and, you know, Luke and Jalen, and then y'all both getting some work with Jaden Bradley and, you know, Nick Nash and Antonio Williams and Jacoby Jones. We want both y'all to have the same offensive line work, the same running backs. We want y'all to both get that. And that I can get with that. I don't love it, but I understand it. And I think it sounds like they're going to do this shit again against Baltimore. I don't necessarily love it, but I get it again. Then I thought the biggest conversation outside of the injury conversations that DQ had, which we've already gone through, and he also gave us a Jordan McGee update that we'll get to here in a second. He talked about the center position. This is a big conversation. Obviously, it's the biggest conversation amongst the fan base right now. Nothing else is hotter in the Commander's space than to talk about the offensive line and more specifically the center position. So right now, as it stands, doesn't sound like they're doing anything at the center position, which really disappoints me and frustrates me to no end. I want them to do something. I don't feel like the answer is here. They're not willing to give up yet. And I feel like, I guess I can understand it from this. I can understand it from this point of view. All right. You've come this far in camp. You're in the last week of training camp. 53-man roster cuts are just about a week away, roughly. You've come this far, you might as well just wait to see what shakes free. And that I can get with, okay? That I totally understand. Okay. Julian Good-Jones shouldn't be on this roster. I'm just be honest with you. Matt Golbin absolutely is making this football team. Julian Good-Jones should not be here, and there should be somebody else that is out there that's getting cut that should be in his place. That said, I don't know if that's going to transpire. Doesn't feel like that's going to transpire. Listening to DQ today, this is what he said. And this is my biggest takeaway from the center position. He said, Matt Golbin's going to get a shot. I've been waiting to hear that shit since the first damn week of training camp, because the first practice, Nick Allegretti got hurt. And it's been the Julian Good-Jones show ever since. And I've been waiting to hear, hey, this is a real competition for backup center. That's all I wanted this whole time, was because they just gave that shit to Julian Good-Jones. They lied to us and told us that there was a battle for one, supposedly a battle for one. There was no battle. It was always Nick Allegretti's job. There was never really a battle for two. They'll tell us that, but there never really was. Because if there was, Matt Golbin would have got a shot. This was always, okay, Julian, this is your opportunity to step up. Nick Allegretti is out. You're going to be taking all of the first team reps with Jaden. And that's what it's been. So there was no competition. Well, today, DQ acknowledged, oh, no, we got competition going on now. Like, we put Matt at guard. I know y'all saw that in the Lions game. Yeah, we saw it. And now I'm here to tell you that Matt's about to go back to center exclusively. Like the same shit he said about Brandon Coleman before the Laramie Tunsil injury, when Coleman exclusively was just going to work at left guard. Hey, we ain't playing around with him. We ain't moving him around. We don't want him cross-training nowhere else. You just focus on left guard, bro. They doing that with Matt Golbin at center. He said, hey, the whole guard shit, we know he can play guard now. We comfortable with him being able to play all three interior spots. We need him to focus on center because we don't like what this shit looks like right now. And we like what we saw from Matt Golbin at center against Miami. We gave Julian Good-Jones the whole game, and that shit was ass. So know what? You getting a shot, Matt, this week. Let's see what you can do. We throwing you in the mix. Let's see what you about. That shit was music to my ears. I would have much rather heard him say, yeah, we're going to bring some guys in to work out, but okay, we this close to the end of the process, right? Let's just see it through. That's basically what he said. We made it this far. Let's just see this thing through. If we don't like what we see, if we don't love it, some guys going to get cut. We'll bring somebody else in here, and Nick will be ready to go start of the season, week 1, and we just going to hit the ground running. But Matt Golbin is about to take this center spot, this backup center spot from Julian Good-Jones, as he should. DQ finally gave him the green light. Hey, you competing for this shit, bro. This week, you getting reps. And he already said, he getting starter reps too. Like, this ain't just, hey, we going to see what you... Nah, you going to get some of these Jaden reps too, bro. See what you about. If you really about that life. And so, I'm looking forward to seeing Matt Golbin take advantage of this opportunity. I think he's going to end up starting this game against the Ravens. Julian Good-Jones got the whole game against the Lions. I wouldn't be shocked if Golbin got the whole game here just so they can see. He's going to be out there in that joint practice. I think he's going to get some love. It's still going to be like, they're not completely giving up on Julian Good-Jones. They should, but they're not. But I think they've seen enough to know he ain't what we need. He ain't what we need. I think they're starting to realize he on some Michael Dieter shit. Thanks for making me right, Jaden. And that's loser shit. That's going to get you got. I think they're starting to realize that. So now I think DQ is acknowledged, hey, this center shit ain't good enough. And Allegretti ain't ready. He gave us an update on him. He ain't ready yet. We knew that. He's going to be a part of that side field practice crew of Bill, Adafe, KC45, Jordan McGee, and all of those boys who, and Duran and all those guys who prepping to get back for next week, right? So Nick ain't ready yet. This is Golbin's opportunity to prove why he was a 6th-round pick, and more importantly, that he's better than Julian Good-Jones. That's a low bar, man. Go ahead and clear that shit and stop playing. DQ talked about the joint practice mindset that they're going to go into. Like, he's like, nah, this is a big week of practice. This is that crescendo, as I talked about. Like, last week was huge. This week is huge. And then we coming down after that. So this is the peak of training camp right here, right? This is these guys' last opportunity to prove that they belong. But he said, more importantly, like last week, you know, and even the week before, the last joint practice against the Dolphins, he was like, it was like 50-50 on the reps. You know what I mean? Jaden got half the reps. Marcus was out there. We gave, the third string dudes, a little love. He's like, we ain't doing that shit against the Ravens. Because obviously these guys not playing in the third preseason game. He's like, basically Jaden and the first team offense going to take most of the offensive reps. And the first team defense going to get most of the reps on defense. Like, we're not doing a whole lot of, we're going to work some guys in there. But for the most part, it's going to be the first team offense. It's going to be the first team defense. Jaden going to get a bulk of the reps, probably like 80-90% of the reps. And somebody, whoever going to get the rest of the, because ain't no Marcus. So they not pressed to get Ethan Kaliak Manis or Sam Hartman out there. Like, Jaden, you get up, because them boys playing in the game. They're going to get all the reps in the game on Friday. So they don't need these practice reps. He's like, this shit all for Jaden. The defense, all for them. First team, because all them second team boys going to be out there on Friday. All them third team boys going to be out there on Friday. So y'all need these reps in this joint practice. So don't look for them. Then he gave us a Jordan McGee update. And he said Jordan McGee is very close to coming back, which I thought when he said the shoulder injury. Then he went on to talk about, because like Rico said Jordan McGee wasn't making the roster yesterday. If you weren't at the event, that was one of Rico had a couple of surprises on his 53-man roster. Shout out to Rico, man. He had a hell of a 53-man roster. And then for those of you not at the event, Rio had 63 guys on his roster. Not 53. He had a 63-man roster. So that was hilarious. Jordan McGee is absolutely making his football team. And DQ kind of just reemphasized that. He's too fast. He's too athletic. And he said they're expecting Jordan McGee to really pick it up on special teams this year, because obviously there's no Nick Bellore. Somebody's got to step up. They think he's one of the guys that can step into that role. And he's like, every time Jordan's on the field, you feel his athleticism. I agree. I thought he was super impressive in the Dolphins game. He was flying around. Hate that he got hurt. But it's a minor one. We need him to stay healthy. He stayed healthy last year. There's this misconception that McGee's always hurt, because he's always hurt this time of year when he needs the reps. Because once the season starts, it's like he's not getting the reps. This year, it could be the same thing, because we got all these linebackers in front of him, so he might get a lot of regular season reps. But it always feels like he's hurt this time of the year, and he is. Last year, he was healthy the whole season. He wasn't hurt during the season last year. He just didn't play a lot, right? He just didn't get on the field enough. His first year, his rookie season, he was absolutely hurt. Way too much. Like, we really didn't get to see him. So this is his third season. It's a big one. I think he can carve out a niche for himself on special teams, and be a spot player on defense that can help, because he's got athleticism. And he expounded upon that conversation to talk about a couple more guys on the inside linebacker crew, in Ale Cajo and Kane Medrano. And he talked about the growth from those players. And I agree with him. And we talked about this at the Kings event last night, that Kane Medrano and Ale Cajo have grown significantly, especially Kane. Like, Kane looked lost. He looked like a lost puppy dog last year, just running around barking on the football field. You could tell he was, pretty green at the linebacker position last year and wet behind the ears. His breath definitely smelled like Similac. Ale won that roster spot last year, right around this time. DQ said, and he was right, he came on like gangbusters. It was the second preseason game that Ale shined, and in that third preseason game, he was the best player on the field. He was like, oh shit. We still didn't think he was gonna make the roster, but he was like, yo, I remember saying after that Ravens preseason game last year, I don't know about y'all, but I'll take an Ale Cajo on my roster. I didn't think he was gonna make the shit though. I just said that shit because he deserved to be on the roster, but I didn't think they was gonna do it. We've seen growth from Ale. Had to pick earlier against Miami. Kane is jumping routes. He's flying around on the field. I like what I've seen from Kane. And he said on special teams, they kind of both played the same position. That kind of gives me like the feel and the vibe that, hey, y'all vying for one spot. I'm sorry, both of y'all can't make it, but both of y'all do the same thing on special teams. And if we being honest, he's like, on defense, Kane and his athleticism is more so utilized by covering tight ends and things of that nature. Ale is more of your downhill thumper, that can drop into coverage, but we don't want him running with no tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. That's more of a Kane thing. But how often will we be relying on Kane Madrano or Ale Cajo to play defense for us? Again, if we get to those guys on the depth chart, we're in trouble, right? With all the depth in front of them, all the talent in front of them. If those boys are seeing the field in any capacity defensively, something has gone horribly wrong. So we ain't talking about these guys as defenders. We're talking about them on special teams. And DQ said they basically play the same spot and do the same thing on special teams. So just really, comes down to which one of these Euclid players did, Adam Peters value more. And you always got to go with the athletic guy and the guy you spent the draft pick on. So Kane's making his team. I think Ale is going to be the odd man out. We'll see. Then he was asked about his badass competitors. Who's been badasses, DQ? Who's been badasses this summer, right? And so he talked about outside of Jaden, who's been some of your badasses. And he was like, on offense, Sam Cosmi. I'm telling y'all, Cosmi's healthy. This is some of the best Sam Cosmi we've ever seen from a body type and shape. I'm telling you, this is a season where I expect him to ascend. If the team has success, Cosmi will be a Pro Bowler. He'll be in the All-Pro conversation, and we'll be talking about him as a blue chip player. I know I'm probably on that Sam Cosmi blue chip train by myself. There's nobody else. I can hear the echo. Cosmi. Blue chip. I can hear the echo. It's just me. That's fine. I don't mind getting out I don't mind going out on that limb by myself. It's a thin branch, but somebody got to do it. I volunteer. So he's been lauding and praising Sam Cosmi all summer. Let's hope that transfers over to the regular season. Chig is another guy that he pointed out who's been highly productive in camp. And I feel that Jaden Chig connection really strengthening. He had a penalty, though, on Saturday. Need him to clean that shit up. And he had a missed block. Him and John Bates. Again, need to clean that shit up. But he didn't mention the entire offensive line, basically, except for the center position. But he singled out Sam Cosmi. He mentioned Josh Conley Jr. and the offseason he had. He didn't mention, I hate when these type of conversations come up. We talking about this summer. We talking about on the field. We ain't talking about the shit you did to get ready for the summertime. When he mentioned Josh Conley Jr., he mentioned all the work he put in to get ready for the summer. I don't care about that shit now. I cared about that the first week of training camp when guys came back in amazing shape. Now, what you about to do with all of that work that you put in to show me that you're a better football player? We ain't really seen the shit from Josh Conley because he ain't really played this summer, right? So we really don't know how much better he's gotten. So he then mentioned Jalen Lane. I'll be honest, I've been shitting on Jalen Lane, the wide receiver. I have a love affair with Jalen Lane, the punt returner. You can't say shit bad about Jalen Lane, the punt returner. It's life in the fast lane. As a matter of fact, cue up my damn life in the fast lane, Jalen Lane, man. Where that's at? Where my life in the fast lane at, man? We know what it is. Where my shit at, man? Do I have it? Maybe I don't have it. I need to find my life in the fast lane. Matter of fact, I'm gonna find it right now. I need my life in the fast lane, man. I need my my drop. Let's see if I can find it. It's probably gonna be in here if I do got it. Let's see. It's not in there. There it is. That should have been in here already. Should have been ready and queued up.
Life in the fast lane.
Yeah, life in the fast lane. Yeah, that's my guy. You can't say shit about Jalen Lane, the punt returner. That's blasphemy. Jalen Lane, the wide receiver, have at it, bro. Hell, I'm even talking shit about him. He been good this summer, man. Improved route runner. He ain't dropped the ball yet. Maybe I should knock on some wood. But I like what we've seen from Jalen Lane, and he basically said, yo, Jalen Lane been much improved. He talked about Frankie Louie. I think we're going to get the demon back. I think Screw Loose Oos is back this year. That bullshit we got last year, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't even satisfactory. He was just out there for the vibes last year. You know, they asked him to play a different position. Joe Witt didn't try to find ways to get him back in positions that he was comfortable. And some of it was necessity, out of necessity. All the injuries, he had to do things that, you know, I don't think he was really prepared to do. But he back to being a screw loose oos this year. I think you're going to see Frankie just flying around the field. And then he mentioned Amik and Mikey as guys that, and he's mentioned those two guys all, you know, camp, about guys that have been super competitive. Mikey's almost gotten like 7 fights. Amik, we saw what he did against Detroit. I already told y'all gonna love Amik Robertson, man. I told y'all from the jump. Y'all talk shit about Amik because he was our first signing, and y'all wanted something shinier. You wanted something more high priced. You wanted something more impactful. I said, he gonna be impactful. Y'all gonna love this shit. I'm telling y'all. Just like I told y'all was gonna love Frankie. Y'all gonna love Amik. He's a dog, a pit bull. And it ain't nothing better than an undersized pit bull, because now he got a short man complex. So he want to bite somebody. Just to prove that he ain't no bitch. I got to bite somebody. Then this was a perfect way to end the press conference. What DQ needs to see from Golban and Julian Good-Jones in terms of the center position? What does he need to see from them? And he basically said, I need somebody to step up, be consistent, be better in the pass game. And he was literally talking to Julian Good-Jones when he said, be better in the pass game, passing off twists and stunts and games on the inside. Julian Good-Jones has struggled with that all summer long. He struggled on the first play of the game against Miami when Marcus had to vacate the pocket. He struggled on the first play of the game against Detroit when Jaden had to vacate the pocket and throw it away. Like, all you got to do is run a simple game in front of Julian Good-Jones, and his goddamn cement feet don't move fast enough for him to be able to get to that second player looping around. They always cross his face, and Jaden's got to run. He's like, I need the interior of that line to be protected. The pocket cannot collapse in front of Jaden. The guys cannot be getting through. It cannot be leaky in the middle of the offensive line. We'll worry about the run game, but the most important thing is protect the 5. Because even if we can't run the ball, we got enough weapons offensively to spread that bitch around judiciously and push the ball down the field through the air if we got to. So we can protect 5. We good. Right now, shit ain't good enough. Period. End of discussion. Shit ain't good enough. So, he said, I need to see consistency. I need to see better pass protection. He didn't even say nothing about the run game. I need better pass protection. Matt Golban is going to be the man for the job. He's going to be the man for the job. If you told me you brought in another center, you released Julian Good-Jones on a 53-man roster cut, you went out there and you found another guy off of somebody else's roster, and you elevated Matt Golban to 2, I'd be okay with that. Right now. Now, I need to see more from Matt Golban, but right now, that's what we got. And I know Julian Good-Jones ain't a backup center. So Matt Golban me at 2 right now. Matt Golban me at 2. And then we'll figure out the rest later. I think that's what's about to happen. I think they've already identified Julian Good-Jones as being Julian not Good-Jones. I think they figured it out. They gave him a shot, and now they're like, yeah, we're not pleased with the results. So that was DQ's press conference. I thought it was a really good one. In practice today, another Jaden Daniels to Stephon Diggs connection, diving catch from Stephon Diggs. You love to see that connection continuing to grow. That's who they were trying to get the football to on the first play of the preseason game versus Detroit. So you like to see that connection continue to grow. The defense was able to keep the offense out of the end zone in the red zone period. So I hate that, right? Like, I love that the defense is able to keep them out of the end zone, but I also want to see the offense be able to score. So I don't like that, because we just came off of a game where we weren't able to even execute an actual NFL football play on offense when the first team offense was out there. And then we didn't score an offensive touchdown. So you want to warm my heart. You know, you want to get the warm and fuzzies back. I'm gonna probably have to inject another vial of hopium, you know, going into the joint practice. But you want to get me excited, tell me that Jaden threw a touchdown pass to Antonio Williams in practice today, or to Terry or Chig or Stephon Diggs. You want to get me excited. Don't tell me they got shut out by the defense, which they did. Again, when we talked about this at the Kings event last night, man, defense might have to start this season off and be the catalyst. I don't know. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. But anyway, all of the running back reps, as you would expect at practice today, went to both Robert Henry Jr. and Katron Allen. I think Robert Henry Jr. damaged. I don't want to say that his chance to make the roster is completely obliterated. He damaged them severely. DQ was also asked about those two running backs during his press conference, and he basically said, I was hoping to see those boys take the next step after a beautiful debut against Miami, and they ain't do shit, but he was like, I mean, it really won't their fault. I mean, every time they got the ball, it was instant penetration. It was the offensive line was being pushed back 3-4 yards into their lap. Like, they never had a shot. So he really didn't shit on them, but Robert Henry did fumble the kickoff too. So, and he didn't, you know, throw him under the bus, but I knew he was disappointed about that as well. So anyway, I digress. So let's get to a quick word from our sponsor. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll get to the comment section. So let's get to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. All right. Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring this stream. If you are a member of the Prize Picks family, we love you, appreciate you. If not, here's an opportunity for you to join the Prize Picks family. Link is in the description of this video. Click that link. It'll take you where you can download the app. App is available in states like California, Florida, and Texas, and so many others across the U.S. There's a great opportunity right now Prize Picks is affording to you. Use the promo code, as you see on the screen, HMA. As a first-time user, play $5, and that can be a 2-pick power play lineup, a 3-pick flex lineup, whatever you need to do. Make it as easy on yourself as possible. A 2-pick power play lineup is, to me, the best way to go. But you can also go with that flex. It's not going to be as profitable, but it's a lot safer because you don't have to hit on all 3 picks. Whatever you do, play that $5. If you win that $5 lineup, you get $150 instantly in lineup bonuses when you use the promo code HMA. So what you see on the screen real quick is a little WNBA lineup I put together for tonight's action. You know, I always bitch about the Golden State Valkyrie, how I hate, you know, putting them in lineups because they are a team where you just don't know from night to night who's going to be good. I've identified what they do well. And so I feel like as much as I bitch about Golden State, I think I win more with them and the two teams that are playing in this game tonight than any other two teams in the WNBA. Minnesota Lynx and the Golden State Valkyrie have been very profitable for the kid. And so what you're looking at right here is a 6-pick, $130 power play lineup that I put together. A $10 with, power play lineup that I put together that I feel really confident about. And this shit makes me feel good. So last night at the event, I was talking to somebody and he was like, yo, bro, I just won $92 off of your WNBA lineup you put up the other day, which I hit on, and I won a nice little piece of change. And he was like, I don't watch WNBA at all. Like, I don't know. I can't tell you Adam from Eve. I can't tell you about this team. I don't know none of the players. I just followed your lineup and I won. I was like, bruh, that warms my heart, bruh. Because I be feeling bad when people copy or tail my lineups and then it don't hit the other day. I already told you I was super heartbreak with Olivia Miles. But anyway, I digress. That was pretty cool. Somebody came up and was like, yo, you want me some money? I'm going to try to do it again tonight. So I got Olivia Miles for 18 points. This is a big game. Two of the best teams in the league squaring off. They just did it last week, and it was a really good game. So I think it's going to be a good game again. Olivia Miles, 18 points tonight. Kyla McBride, 3 threes. Queen Fee, 18 points. She didn't play last game, just rest maintenance. So I think she's going to come off of that rest, and she's going to be out there. I think she's going to go crazy tonight and score 20, but we'll see. Janelle Saloon, you know, her brother TJ plays in the league, former top 5 pick. She's better than her brother. 9.5 points. She's usually good for about 12 or 13. So hopefully she does what she does. Tiffany Hayes comes off the bench for the Valkyrie. She's been playing her ass off. She's been scoring double figures every night. This will be the night she decides to score 2. That's the type of shit that they be on. But if I'm confident she's just gonna give me 5. That's all I'm asking for. And then Veronica Burton, I think, is their best player, the Valkyrie's best player. Sometimes it's Gabby Williams. A lot of times it's Veronica Burton. I know I can count on her for the PRA. I didn't want to overlap. I've already got a PRA ticket for her. So I said, you know what? Let me ask her for 2 threes. She's usually good for 1. I stretched it. If this ticket doesn't hit, it's probably because Veronica Burton didn't do what I needed her to do. But I feel really confident. So that's my Prize Picks lineup that I put together today. And I'm going to try to have something for y'all almost every day. Even if it's, something that I'm looking at from an NFL standpoint. Week 1, we're going to start looking at that because we're getting really, really, really close. So I'm going to start having some stuff for y'all. But that's my Prize Picks lineup. Hopefully, y'all find some success. Y'all can follow me on Prize Picks at LouieTeeNetwork. Y'all know how I get down. But in any event, shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring this stream. Monique just asked, who won the drink contest? Rio smoked us, bro. Like, they sold out of his drink. That's how bad he smoked us. I was a distant second. I think Ed and Rico probably tied for third. But we got smoked, bro. Like Rita, he killed us. I told you I wasn't gonna be afraid to admit the shit. It wasn't close. it wasn't close. It was a total knockout. Smoked us. Anyway. And I will say, in my defense, in all of our defenses, Rio cheated, 1. I won't get into the specifics on how he cheated, but he cheated. That's 1. And 2, they didn't have the ingredients for all of our drinks. So we had to then pivot, so to speak. So Rio was the only one that was able to like take advantage of the system. I got to give him credit. He took advantage of the system and he rode that shit to victory. So shout out to him. Or as a wise man once said, credit to them. Credit to them. Right? So let's get to the comment section, then we'll get out of here. Ant-Man, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Ant-Man writes, Lou, what up, Ant? Sucks I couldn't make it, but it's a goal of mine to meet you, fam. Likewise, bro. It'll happen eventually, man. Like, with these events, we plan to have more in the future, and it's not always ideal for everyone to be at, these events. We know life be lifing, that's why we try to give you enough time to try to plan around it. Figure out if you can be there or not. Sometimes we had people like buy tickets and wasn't able to show up. And that's a part of life. Sometimes life be lifing. So eventually we're going to link. I met people that I've been trying to meet up with, or, we've been talking for years, and we finally met for the first time last night. Shout out to my guy Derek B. Shout out to my guy Tone. Shout out to my guy Juan Gotti. Talk sports. Like, I've been talking to these dudes for years and years. Just met them for the first time last night. So it'll happen eventually. Big Dog. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Shout out to my guy Big Dog, man. Met him last night. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, thanks, Louie. Had a ball. Toast to the season. Yeah, man. We had a blast last night, man. We're going to have another toast to the season here on the Louie T Network. Y'all know how we get down. As we get a little closer, we're going to have a toast. I'm going to have my drink with me. We're going to turn up. Y'all going to probably get Louie Tiff that night. You already know what it is, but we're going to have another blast prior to the season starting. But last night was epic. Shout out to the Kings, man. Shout out to Rico, Ed, Rio, for making that event what it was, man. We were in rare form last night, and so were you guys. The Mob and the Legion were out in full force, and you guys held it down last night. So it was epic, man. It was epic. Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. I just saw your comment. True DJing betting on WNBA. Yeah. Nope. Hands up. I told Rio he was a DJing for doing it. And then I saw the lucrative opportunity. And it ain't like I'm out here. I told Rio he greedy. I'm like, I ain't out here trying to kill it. I'm just trying to get my little 60 off, trying to get my little, and then I'll push it to the limit. I'll push it to like 120. If I'm feeling frisky, 240. And then if they give me a little power up. Might get her up to 420 or something like that. But this ain't like the NBA or the NFL where it's $1,800, it's $2,400, tickets that we putting together. I'm just trying to add a little something, man, incrementally. It is some DJing shit. I got to draw the line on preseason football. I leave that to Rio and those of you who are out here in the game that heavy. You got it. You got me. I don't want it. He says, you should start Commander's Court, add Grant, Asia, and Josh to the crew. Why y'all always trying to add stuff? Huh? Shit's good the way it is. Why y'all always trying to add ingredients? We got the recipe, right? We got the recipe. We ain't trying to add nothing to the recipe. The ingredients are what they are. We got the recipe already. Appreciate the suggestion, though. Mr. Rogers, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Our guy, Uncle Jay. We had a time last night, Uncle Jay. All right. Shout out to my guy, Uncle Jay. Says, good seeing you and the fellas yesterday. Had a good time, and I'm sure everyone else did as well. That drive back was something else worth it, though. You ain't lying, bro. I can only imagine what time you got home. You probably got home probably after 1 o'clock is my guess. I got home after midnight, so we both had to take a drive. Yours was longer than mine, obviously, but I'm glad you made it home, bro. That's the most important part, is that you made it back to the crib and lived to tell the story, right? Like, last night was definitely epic, man. Appreciate you coming out and supporting. Shadow Striker 789. I met my guy Shadow Striker last night. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Shadow Striker writes, watch my first video of yours almost 5 years ago. See that? 5 years in the making. See that, Ant-Man? Like, he watched the video 5 years ago. We finally met for the first time last night. So, again, it's going to happen eventually, bro. Awesome. I got to meet you in the Kangs. What an event. It was awesome, man. So glad that you were able to come out and support. And it was a blast meeting people like yourself last night. Grant and I held it down for the white boys. It was a few of y'all out there, man. Y'all held it down for the whites indeed, man. Shout out to y'all. We love y'all, man. We love y'all, man. Contrary to popular belief in what Ed says, we're not racist, man. We love the whites as well. So shout out to my guy, Shadow Striker, Grant, so many others, man. Ben was out there, Jen was out there. We love y'all, man. Y'all were so much fun, and y'all were so epic. Shout out to my girl Oracle, her husband. The whites were in full force last night, holding us down. Gordon was out there holding us down. With so many of y'all, man. We love y'all, man. Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? DQ presses are like Lou's pizza. Trash. LOL. Why my pizza got to catch a stray? Shout out to Rio for exposing my pizza. I won't hide in it, though. I've shown y'all. I've taken pictures of my pizza before, shown y'all what I be over here eating. And truth be told, like, that pizza is bomb. I came home last night starving off a cliff. I had 6 slices of pizza left, 5 or 6 slices left because I took the pizza to the event. Obviously, that's how Rio was able to take a picture of it. And I crushed that shit. Like, it was so good. Y'all can talk that shit y'all want to. That pizza bomb. F what you heard, man. To hell with what they talking about. That pizza is delicioso. Good. All right. They was trashing my pizza on socials yesterday. Rio led the charge. Pitchforks and torches were out. It's all good, man. I'm defending my pizza 10 toes down. My shit. I put my pizza up against. I won't go that far, but my pizza is good. I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. My pizzas are better than DQ's presser, man. Don't do that to my pizza, bro. Don't do that. Dougalicious. Shout out to my guy Dougalicious. Been a member for 13 months. Met Dougalicious last night. That's my guy. Y'all much larger than I thought. Nice to see y'all. You know how many times people like Rico, for one, Rico is built like a tank, bro. Rico is built like an edge rusher. And people think Rico is all small and, skinny and scrawny because you don't really see his body. And a lot of times, I know somebody was like, I thought you were shorter because when I'm on my show, I'm like I'm kind of slumped down in my seat a little bit. I try to sit up sometimes, but you can't really gauge how tall, you know, and obviously, you know, Ed's 6'5", right? We're basically all, you know, over 6 feet, or 6 feet and above. So I'm a legit 6 feet with shoes on. I'm probably 6'1", right? So like I think they thought we was gonna be out here 5'8" it or some shit. Like, nah, we ain't on that type of time. So it's cool to see all of y'all, man. It was cool to see y'all. Swaggy P. I was shocked that you weren't there, bro. I was looking for you. I was checking for you. I was like, my guy Scott, my guy Swaggy P don't ever miss an event. He always take that track. Him and Cuz always take the track from Carolina. So I was like, I was actively seeking y'all out. And I was shocked when I didn't see you. I was like, maybe I just didn't run into him. Like, hell no. I ain't never had an event. This is my 4th event. I've had 2 individual events, 2 with the Kings, and you've been to every one except for last night. So I'm like, it ain't no way that he in the building and we ain't crossed paths. That's just not how me and Swaggy P and Cuzzo get down. So I'm shocked not to see you, but again, life be life. And he's like, I'm having FOMO for missing the Commanders Kings event, but I couldn't make it this time. Shit, hey, look, bro, you were batting 1,000. You were 3 for 3 up until last night. You're allowed to not be at an event, bro. It's okay. But I knew the FOMO was kicking in heavy. And now that you hearing about the event is probably even more severe today. He says, I was there, though, for the first one and plan on being there next year. No doubt, man. And we're gonna continue to put these events out, man. People that were there last night was like, yo, I hope y'all doing this again. This is going to be an every year thing. This is something that we're going to turn into. We called it the annual toast. Annual means yearly. We plan on making this an annual thing, like literally doing this every year. So shout out to everybody that was there, and shout out to people like yourself who wanted to be there that couldn't make it, that plan on being there next year. Swaggy P, my guy, been a member for 46 months. Salute to you, who writes, someone get Glasgow in the Commanders jersey ASAP. I think they want to go younger, personally. If they wanted Graham Glasgow, I think they could. I said the same thing about Diggs, and they ended up signing Diggs. So we'll see. But it felt like, because if you wanted a Glasgow, could have already brought him in, had him competing, seeing what he had left in the tank, because he's an older player. I think they want somebody younger in here, personally. We'll see. Waiting to say. I think they also are kind of like waiting to see what shakes free, because Glasgow clearly is there. And if you want him, you don't have to rush. See what shakes free. If you don't love the options that are afforded to you by the cuts from these other rosters around the league, then you can call up a Graham Glasgow. Then you can call him up. Craig Harrison, been a member for 55 months. Celebrate! My guy, Craig, writes, AP is proven to be a clown. Is he blind? Is he delirious? How in the hell do we see this shit and they don't? Incompetent might be the adjective to use. Disgusting. This might be a long year. I think that's a bit extreme, Craig. I get the frustration. I'm not there yet, Craig. That's some week 7 team started 2 and week 8, week 7. Let's just say week 7 because we're at our bye in week 7, and the team has started 2 and 4 or 1 and 5, and they're struggling, and we talking that DQ need to be fired. Shit, that's the reaction then. Right now, they've had a strong offseason. This is a blemish, no doubt about it. This is a blemish. The center position, we've been talking about this shit since they cut Tyler Biadasz. When they cut Tyler Biadasz, really out of nowhere, unprovoked, out of nowhere. It put a target on the center position squarely. But outside of that, we've upgraded every position on this roster. We're better. So you can't let one position not being where it needs to be. Although, I mean, it's a pretty big one. You can't let that one thing undermine everything Adam Peters has done this offseason. That's not fair. That would be like let's say that you're at your job, Craig, and you did 10 things, right? 9 of them you did really well, but you did this one thing really bad. Now, is that one thing that you did bad? Bad? Yeah, it's pretty bad. But it's not like an extreme, like you didn't just tank the whole company. You just did a thing that you're like, hey, you really shouldn't do that, bruh. But the other 9 things you've done have been super productive, and they outweigh the one thing that you did bad. Would you want them to say, you know what, you did this one thing, we're gonna have to terminate you, man? If the transgression was that bad, then yes. This transgression isn't that bad. Not yet, at least. Still time. We'll see what happens with the center position. But again, if it tanks this season, then that comment that you just made, fully justified. I would actually double down on it and I'll go get my pitchfork and torch with you and we can march, right? We can go raise hell together. But right now, not the time for that. I don't think. That's just me. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, video channel writes, Lou, video channel. I can see conservative Quinn this year. If they believe the defense is improved and the O will struggle due to the O-line and DQ job being on the line, he's going to punt more on fourths and take safe money. I can see that. I don't think you're wrong. I want the old DQ back, the first year DQ, the aggressive DQ. But in order for him to feel that way, the offense has to be good. I agree. Because he's a defensive-minded coach at his core, right? That's who he is. He's always going to err on the side of being conservative if he thinks the defense is good. If the offense is clearly the superior side of the football, that's when he gets aggressive. That's what happened in 2024. I got this quarterback. I got this offense that I believe in. We didn't punt for almost 3 weeks. Yeah, let's go for it on 4th down. We'll see. The belief is really in Jaden. And if that's not wavering. But if the offensive line is a problem, you may see him be more conservative. And if the defense is good, you damn right. Instead of sending out Drew Stevens for a 59-yard field goal, he'll punt that bitch, try to pin him with Tress inside the 10-yard line, fair catch at the 7, and he's going to try to play defense. That's what he is at his core. Offensive coaches are either going to go for it or kick that field goal. Defensive coaches want to pin them because, I'm going to let my defense go out there, force the 3 and out, stop. Now we're going to get great field position. I'm prepared for that mentally. I'm with you, right? I'm right there. Lockstep, video channel. Think you're going to get conservative DQ this year, unless the offense shows something else. Juan Gotti talk sports. My guy Juan, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, man. It was finally good to meet you, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I had some conversations with the Kings afterwards, bro. You got some Dwight Howard shoulders. You look like you could post somebody up and give them 28 and 12, bro. They not getting around that shoulder. You give them one of these little chicken wings and you go with the hook over the right shoulder. They can't do shit with that, bro. Your shoulders are broad, bro. You lower that shoulder, you definitely getting some yards after contact. Shout out to my guy Juan Gotti, and you look good, bro. I've seen you, the journey transforming your body. You look blessed, bro. We talked about that too, man. It was so good to see you, bro. He says, great to finally meet you, Lou. Likewise, man. Appreciate you for being the foundation for this community. Pause if needed for your fragrance smelled great. What's the sauce? Man, I appreciate that. I had on a couple of different oils last night. I had on Jimmy Choo and I had on Stronger. Those were the 2 main ingredients of what you smelled yesterday. Those are my go-to, 2 of my go-to oils that I put on. Stronger being the core foundation of what I wear. That shit smells amazing. So that's probably what you smelled. But I appreciate the love, man. And it was just so good to meet you, bro. Really was. I value the content creators in this space, and I love the growth that I've seen. I know what my place in all of this is, and I always love to take a step back and just watch the newcomers and the people like Juan who've been grinding for a while, like Protect, who've been grinding for a while. I love to see them come up in the game. And then the new people like Grant and others, you know, Asia and all these people who are flooding the game as well, but they're carving out their own niche. I just love what is being done right now, man. And I just love seeing it. And I love meeting these people and seeing what they're doing. So it was cool to meet you in person because, again, you've been grinding for a minute, Juan, and it's been great to see your growth in this as well. So shout out to you. Derek B, my guy, Derek B. Finally, so good to meet my guy, Derek B, man. Like, and your wife is beautiful. It was so cool. And I told your wife, I was like, thank you for sharing him with me because I know that's my guy. And I know I take up a lot of your time, a lot of your quality time. I meant to tell her, and I thought I was going to see y'all one more time. I was going to tell her, next time y'all go on one of these elaborate, you know, extravagant vacations to some remote island, hey, take me with y'all. Like, me and the wife would love to tag team with y'all. I don't want to see no more pictures of y'all going to some tropical island and I ain't there. And I also told my guy, Derek B, I owe him a couple of refunds for those Ron's Plans t-shirts that he bought. He was one of the first people to buy those Ron's Plans. And he looked good in it too. And I was so hyped. And then that shit just went downhill. And I said, I owe you a couple of refunds for that, man. My bad, bro. Derek B is my guy, man. He says, great event. Give out name tags to the crowd next year so everybody kind of knows who everybody is. Because, again, a lot of times we talk to people in terms of YouTube names. That's how we, you know, address each other because that's what we see in the comment section. So, you know, I ask them their name and they'll tell me their name, but then I'm like, what's your YouTube name, man? Like, I want to know your real name, but I also want to know your YouTube name because I want to put faces to names, right? Who am I talking to? So, you know, that would be pretty dope. Like, have people come in and fill out their YouTube handle and put it on their my name is and put it on their chest. That would be actually pretty funny and dope at the same time. My guy, Derek B. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Derek B writes, okay, I got a double O from Derek B. What? Okay. Vegan cookies are delicious, but vegan pizza, you ain't tried it though. You would have to offer up another. You know what? I got a challenge for you. Next time I see you, I'm gonna get you a slice of my pizza, and you tell me. And I'm not saying it's gonna be delicious. It might not be delicious. Everybody tastes buds, but it won't be disgusting. It won't be vomit inducing. It won't be nasty. I guarantee you that. I bet you feel like the pizza's better than what it looked like. Don't judge a book by its cover, man. I'm telling y'all, this pizza is better than y'all giving it credit for, man. It's the lack of cheese that's scaring y'all. And honestly, you don't need cheese on the pizza to make it good. Those are those empty calories I'm talking about. That cheese adds no nutritional value to the pizza. None. It adds taste value, right? It makes it taste better, but it adds no nutritional. You don't need that shit. Cut that shit out. That's all I'm doing. Cutting the middleman out. Getting straight to all of the ingredients that get active. Telling you. You sleeping on that vegan pizza, man. Telling you, bruh. Give it a chance. Give it a chance. Mr. Washington 007. Met him last night. Let's go. Again, I'm putting these faces to names now. I love it. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, amazing event last night, and I appreciate meeting you all. I was the guy that won the Commander's sign ball with the Commander's King signature. I know who you are now. I know who you are. Shout out to you. Shout out to, once again, RX Air 360 for giving away all of those amazing prizes. The the Hellraiser authentic helmet. That's like almost $600 in actual value. That shit was fire. I wanted this shit myself because I'm a cop me one, but I wanted one. I was like, damn, what I got to do to get in on this joint? The football they gave away with all the signatures, that shit was fire. I want that for myself. I need to get one for myself and get all the Kings to sign it and put that shit in the case. I already got the case. I just need the football to go in it. So that was pretty dope. And then we had the two little helmets and you won the ball, man. So shout out to you. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be some footage of that on our video that we post on the channel of you winning the football, and so that it's pretty dope, man. Shout out to you, and appreciate you coming out supporting the event, and glad you had a great time, man. And I'm glad you won something too. Bart Scott, glad you won, man. Command OGJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Command OGJ writes, nice event. Couldn't stay long with you young ones. Love seeing the energy and meeting real fans in the Kings community. Good thing JGJ61 wasn't there now, because they were booing that man. They threw tomatoes at him. Yeah, good thing he wasn't in attendance. But I appreciate you pulling up, man. Like, it's a Sunday, you know, that factored into it too as well. But I was shocked. A lot of people stayed to the end. You know, last year when we did the event, when we did the toast to the season, because we always do the actual toast to the season at the very end of the event, it was only a handful of people that was there last year, probably like maybe 15 or 20. We had a legitimate 60, 70, maybe 80 people still left at the event when we did the toast. And that was at 10 o'clock, right at the end of the show. The show was from 4. Doors opened at 4, event started at 5, show was till 10 o'clock. And we toasted right around 10 o'clock. And shout out to everybody that made it to the very bitter end of the show. I wouldn't even say bitter, made it to the very climactic end. Shout out to my guy Gerard, who wanted me to sing the I Got 5 on It song. I hadn't sung it in so long, I forgot the words, right? I mean, think about it. Jaden hasn't played football in 8 months, and he hadn't been good, like healthy and good, since the Bears game. I probably hadn't sung it since the Chargers game, because we didn't win the Bears game. I'm not singing it after a loss, even though he played his ass off. I probably hadn't sung it since the Chargers game last year. What was the Chargers game? October, early October? So think about that. Almost a calendar year I hadn't sung the song. So of course I had forgotten the words initially. But he was like, yo, I'm about to get out of here. He had requested the song, and he was about to bounce. And I saw him leaving, and I was like, yo, I remember the word. I was like I was racking my brain trying to think of the song. And I saw him dapping people up, hugging people. I'm like, oh shit, he leaving. Like, yo, Gerard, I remember the song now, bro. He was like, well, I'll stick around for that. Because they had a 3-hour drive. He's like, yeah, I got to get out of here. I got 3 hours to go home. I'm like, I understand, bro. He's like, I'll stick around for that, though. And sure enough, I was able to hit him with that joint. It was epic, and that led us right into the toast. It was fire, bro. So if you made it to the end, it was dope. Shout out to everybody, and shout out to you, Command OGJ, for coming in and supporting, man. No, you couldn't stay to the end, but all of that matters is that you came out and you showed your face and you supported, man. That's all we ever asked for. So shout out to you. Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Door Gunner. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Right. Military cadre used to threaten us to have to eat Louie's pizza in prisoners of war camp training. True torture. Everyone spilled the beans then. Why again, why my pizza catching strays today, man? Pizza ain't done nothing to nobody, and y'all boys keep shooting them. What do you do? Dang. All he ever did was look delicious. That's it. Taste delicious and look delicious. That's all he's ever done. Yet he gets all this hate. Why? 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 Because he ain't got a little bit of cheese on him? Y'all don't know what y'all missing, man. I don't know what y'all missing. Y'all don't know what y'all missing. Josh Gates, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Josh Gates writes, last night was an event to remember. I told y'all we was going to create a new core memory, man. Shout out to Josh Gates, met my guy. All love, man. He says, I haven't had fun like that in a minute. Glad to meet you, Lou, and the rest of the Kings. That vegan cookie was good. I can't tell a lie. When it comes to stuff I put in my body, I wouldn't lie to y'all. Tell y'all that pizza better than y'all giving it credit. Just like I told y'all, these vegan cookies change your life. All right. I'll just say this. Not all vegan products, not all vegan cuisine is akin to non-vegan. Like, you can tell the difference in certain things. You can't tell the difference in them vegan cookies, bro. Some shit slap like they came straight out of a bakery that uses milk, eggs, and all of that shit. If I make y'all, and I think I'm gonna do that. If I make y'all my carrot cake, man, y'all will slap y'all mama. My shit so good, bro. Like, and you wouldn't even know it was vegan. If I made y'all some of my yams, man, stop playing with my vegan food, man. All right, I ain't gonna tell y'all about one time. Stop playing with my vegan food, man. All right. I'm glad you had a great time because I did as well. And it was so good to meet you, bro. So good to meet you, man. It was people like you made last night's event so dope. Uncle Jay, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Mr. Rogers. Double up. Thank you for doubling up with rights. I got home at 2. I didn't want to put 2 on you, bro. I didn't want to put 2 a.m. on you, but I knew it was probably closer to 2 because you got out of there probably right around like close to 11. Because like when we finally closed up shop last night, walking out of the building, it was going on 11. So I knew you had at least a good 3 facing you going home. So got up at 6 and called out of work. You ain't shit for that. But I understand the struggle. I talked to everybody last night or this morning from the event last night. And like Rio was like, bro, I ain't got it today. Rico had a flight first thing out. So, you know, I know he got to be tired. Ed left the event, looked like he was about to go drop 15 and 8. No assists. Ed looked like at 11 o'clock at night, Ed looked like he was going straight to the nearest gym and he was about to go put up 15 and 8. He put on a headband, a Nike headband, had the cut off Bubba Chuck shirt on, had the guns out, had on his basketball shorts and a gym bag. I said, damn, Ed, you about to go drop 15 and 8? We was weak, bro. And then I went to sleep last night at about 2:30 and I got up at 6 as well. So, but I was able to go back to sleep. So, my guy Twan, shout out to Twan over at the Hilltop RVA. He sounded like shit this morning. He got home at almost 3 o'clock last night, and he got home around 2:30, right as I was getting in bed. And he got up first thing in the morning because he had to go to work, and he sounded like shit. So I mean, we were wrecked, but it was worth it, bro. So I can understand calling out of work, but I can totally understand. Like, yeah, I ain't got it, bro. I ain't got it. I feel you on that. Reed Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, LT, you guys sharing some highlights? Come on now. You know we are. Yeah, that's coming to a Commanders Kings screen near you. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be on the horizon very, very shortly. Reese, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, when I was younger, I couldn't watch the videos. Were so long. You talk so much. I still have that problem. I have what is called long form content. This is not for everybody. You know, social media is all about people with short attention spans, right? Which is why I've always told people I'm not for everybody, and I'll never have a YouTube, plaque. I'll never get to 100K because my content is for everyone. But I'm not changing who I am to fit into a box so that everyone can like me. Either you're gonna rock with the content the way it is or not, because this is who I am. I'm staying true to who I am and authentic to what I am. And so my shit ain't for everybody, and I know that, right? People get scared when they see a 2-hour video, and I get it, right? As someone who does indulge in shorts, I get just the instant gratification, the quick pop, 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 on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. But there is value in this, and so many people be like, "Man, you don't know how you got me through. I'm a trucker. I'm on the road, and your long form shit gets me through my route, or I'm on the road. I'm a Uber driver, and so I'm out here and I'm listening to you in my ear, and people tell me that all the time at the gym. I'm getting my workout, so there's value in it, and then there's people like, bro, either sorry or congratulations, bro. I ain't got time for that shit, man. 2 hours, I'm good. He says, grew up and now I appreciate it. Gets me through work and long drives. There's value in it, bro. It's not for everybody, and I know that, but it's value in it for sure. Red House, not Roadhouse. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Red House, not Roadhouse. Right. It's my boy Lou working hard. Get him 100K ASAP. Throw up the prayer hands. Hey, save your prayers, man. It ain't happening. Like, this team would have to win 6 Super Bowls for me to get to 100K. But I'll see somebody else. Like, maybe Rio will get there, right? Like, and I'll be just as excited if he gets there. Like, he's more at this point of where I am in my career, like, he's where I was when I first started. He's ambitious. He wants it. I'm like, I'm at the point now where I'm still hungry. I still have drive, but what was important to me when I first started versus what's important to me now is totally different. I've seen so much. I've come so far in the game. I know the ropes. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. And so would I love to get to that plaque? Yeah. But I know what that entails. And sometimes people choose you and other times they don't. And I'm okay. Like, I liken myself to sort of an underground rapper who has a great career and a loyal fan base. My favorite rap group is Little Brother. That's what they were. A group that had potential to be one of the best duos, trios, but duos we've ever seen, and blow up. But for whatever reason, and there's reasons, it never happened. But they still went on to have tremendous success, individual success as a group, critically acclaimed, did well for themselves, right? That's me, right? That's kind of me. And I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with that. As long as I got y'all, I'm good, bro. I told them last night at the event, man, everybody in here, all the fans that support us, right? We all we got. That's all we need. Because it's going to be, when we start winning, it's going to be a lot of outsiders coming in here trying to infiltrate like they was here the whole time, trying to perpetrate like they've been here the whole time. You won't hear for the struggle. And I'm not boxing you out, not pushing you away because you won't hear for the struggle. But to think you're going to show up and get the same love, that would be foolish. All right. I'm pouring the champagne on the dude that been here for 7 years, the dude that been here for 10 years, the dude that been here for 5 years, the dude that been here for 3 and 8 years. I'm pouring the champagne on them. You can watch with the goggles on, but you ain't getting none of this champagne, bro. You won't hear through the struggle, right? That's how I roll. So it's all love. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. Hazel-eyed assassin. Been a member for 54. Wait, we here with it. Celebrate. Hazel-eyed assassin writes, "What's up, Lou? Great event last night. Thanks for the bets." That's my guy right there. He was like, "Bro, I don't know nothing about WNBA, but you blessed me. You threw the oop. I dunked it. I threw you another oop tonight. Go ahead and put that one in the basket too, man. I think that's going to be fruitful for us too." So, and you can remix the lineups I give you, because you might be like, I don't know if I trust that. I don't know if I trust Burton to hit 2 threes tonight. Veronica Burton to hit 2 threes. You could be like, yeah, I'm gonna leave that one off. I'll throw Veronica Burton for this 20 PRA though, because she's gonna do that. And I know she's gonna do that, but I got that on another ticket. I don't need to duplicate that. Right? So you can tweak it to fit the way you feel. And look, man, I'm just looking for the assist either way. I'm just looking for the assist either way. So shout out to you for being able to eat. That's all I'm trying to do. Make sure we all eat here, man. Make sure we all eat. Craig Harrison, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Craig writes, and I think that's a double up for you. Double up. Let me see. I think it was a comment. I know you weren't happy in the first one. No, that was just a mob chat. But I know you weren't happy in the first one. He says, "Did you not see the Lions game?" I did. I watched it, Craig. You know I watched it. We better score a lot on the defense, because no matter how good 5 and the skill positions are, if this offensive line is trash, the O will be. I feel you. I feel you. I told you, I'm not panicking yet, but I am anxious. I am anxious. I feel like DQ feels the urgency though. That's why we had practice today. If he were sitting back, shit was just status quo, like, oh, we just chalk it up to a poor performance, we'll get him next time, then yeah, I would have some feelings of I don't know about this. I still don't love that they haven't done anything, but again, it makes sense. You've seen this process all the way through, basically to the end. You have less than a week to go before this roster has to be trimmed down from 90 to 53, and you get to see what else teams decide to discard, and you might be interested in something. You might as well just wait now. Like, again, Swaggy P said earlier, go out, go get Graham Glasgow. Graham Glasgow is going to be there after the 90-man cutdowns. After this roster is trimmed down to 53, if they don't like what they see and they want Graham Glasgow, he'll still be there. They ain't gonna go get him then. So there's time to do something if they feel like they need to do something. What I don't like that he said is that they think that they have the answer in the building already. That I don't believe is true. And maybe Nick Allegretti is good enough to get us through the season. We believed that before the injuries happened. We need him to stay healthy. We need him to stay healthy. As of right now, if he's not healthy, we are in a world of trouble. We are in a world of trouble. I feel you. I'm not as extreme. Like, to me, with the fan base, sometimes that's the problem we run into, is that it's extremes. Either everything is so good and we're super excited and you're at that end of the spectrum, or you're all the way at the end of the spectrum where you are, where it's like gloom and doom, disaster. Oh my God, sky is falling. Everything is burning around us. This is going to be a disaster. And it doesn't have to be that. We're not there yet, to me. We played 2 preseason games. That's like the same thing with the conversation with Sonny Styles. Like, we're not there yet. We played 2 preseason games. What are we talking about with Sonny Styles? That's not even a conversation that I even engage in. What are we talking about? There is a middle ground, right? There is somewhere in between that you can lie and have anxiousness, not love what you see, but also realize that there's still talent and there's time and there's ways to work around that if you have to, and we'll be fine. You know, you may not believe that. Clearly, that's not how you feel, but that's how I choose to feel. So we'll see what happens. Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Door Gunner, writes, Lou about to make me throw hands over that cheese on pizza comment. Hey, man, I said it. I said what I said. I'm standing on business. All right. So I'm not running from it. Cheese is not a necessity on a pizza. I've been eating cheeseless pizza for years now. And I realized after the first time I ate pizza without cheese, I was like, I don't miss it. I don't miss it. All those years of eating cheese on pizza and it being a staple was just, I just did it because that's what you do. But when I removed cheese from the equation, I was like, I don't need that shit. I don't need it. I don't need it. The thinner the crust, the more essential the cheese is. If you have a regular size crust, if the crust has thickness to it, volume to it, you don't need no cheese. So if you're ready to throw hands, put them up, bro. Put them up. Because I ain't ducking, I ain't running, I ain't hiding, I ain't scary. I said what I said, and I said it with my chest. All right? Mr. Washington 007, stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB, my guy, Mr. Washington 007. Mom, y'all know what to do. Show him some love. Make him feel warm and welcomed in the greatest squad in the land, the mob, the MOBB. You know what it is. Welcome to the squad, Mr. Washington 007. Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun. Wilfredo Elias, been a member for 51 months. Celebrate! My guy Wilfredo writes, like, sub, and hit that bell. Nah, Lou, you the GOAT at this Commanders thing. No competition. Don't sell yourself short either, my guy. I'm an optimist, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. I'm right there with you. I think nervous is the right emotion to have. I'm anxious. Anxious and nervous are very close kin. Like, probably, I wouldn't say they're brothers and sisters. I wouldn't say they're brothers. So immediate family, but I'm like, they first cousins. Like, anxiousness leads to nervousness if it's not addressed, right? If you allow anxiousness to linger for too long, it turns into nervousness. You can be anxious without being nervous. But if you're anxious for long enough, that anxiety turns into fear, which then makes you nervous, right? I'm not there yet, but I am anxious. I'll be honest, I was more anxious when I didn't know. Now I know what to expect from the offense and the defense because I saw it. Small sample size, I know, and I don't love that the sample size is so small, so can't really say. But now it's allowed me to lower my offensive expectations. I expect them to exceed them, but I'm going to lower the bar just because of what I've seen so far. So when they clear that bar, I'm going to feel so much better. Because the bar was pretty high on offense. I'm not going to lie to you. And it still is high in my mind, but I also physically, my mind and physically, two different things. In my mind, I can talk crazy because I got that hopium flowing through my body. Right? I got the hopium, so I'm telling you, David Blau gonna kill this shit. It don't matter. We're gonna figure it out. But physically, I have to lower the bar because of what I saw, right? So defensively, my mind is like, I still need to see this shit. It's the opposite on defense. I still need to see this shit. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, I've seen preseason defenses hoop and then be ass. But at the same time, I'm like, but Durante probably different. But in my mind, I'm like, I need to see it first. But physically, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to raise that bar up. All right, I'm setting the bar a lot higher than where, because the shit was damn near touching the floor. Now I'm raising the bar up because I'm like, yeah, I mean, they've been pretty decent, and they've been consistent through camp. In preseason, they done already forced 5 turnovers. They getting pressure. He done already sent the corner. He sent the cat blitz. We seeing shit that we ain't seen since 64. All right, I'm going to have to move the bar up on defense. So, yeah, I would say that right now, I am anxious. I get the nervousness, though. I get it. I get it. Wilfredo Elias, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, about the O-line, I trust AP, though. Let's see. I trust him, too. That's why I'm not tripping. I feel like there is something to be said about giving them a chance to see the process through. Right? They got a 6th-round rookie. They got a veteran that they trust that hasn't been able to stay healthy. And then they gave Julian Good-Jones a try. They better than me because I wouldn't have either not given him the shot at all, or I would have just given him a shot early and then be like, all right, this shit ain't good enough. They let it play out like they said they would. So credit to them. Credit to them. But I seen enough. I know how that movie ends. I'm good, bro. So I trust AP, and I feel like if something needs to be done, he's going to do it because that's what he's done all offseason. Candace, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Candace writes, my introverted soul showed up and loved it. Yes. Yes. It was so good to see people who I could tell were not comfortable in that space be comfortable. Because I, too, am somewhat introverted. I told you I'm an introverted extrovert. So I could tell. I talked to at least 7 people yesterday. I was like, this ain't your, in my mind, I'm like, this ain't your scene right here. But because of the love you have for us, you said, I'm going to do something unconventional for me. I'm going to step out of my comfort zone, out of my element, and I'm going to pull up. I'm going to pop out. I'm going to slide. And that's why we love y'all, man. That's why we love y'all. That's why we love y'all. Shout out to Candace. Glad you had a great time. I'm so glad you had a great time. That will lead you to want to come back when we do it again. That's the point. You might be like, yeah, I did it once, I don't need to do it again. But you're more likely to be like, nah, I had a good time. I'm gonna come back if y'all do it again. That's what we aiming for. Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Door Gunner writes, missed my last super. Did I? Did I? Oh, okay. You thought I missed throwing hands over the pizza comment. I did skip over it, but I did it once I had already realized I did it. I was going back, but I hadn't done it yet. So I think that's what you were referring to. You could correct me. I might need to go back up and see. I missed another one of yours. Feel like that's the one you were talking about, because I did skip over that one initially, and then once I saw I skipped over it, I went back. But my bad for that. Door Gunner, my bad, bro. Reedy Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Lou waiting on week 8 to judge the year. And even then, you still won't be able to judge, right? Because we could just be hitting our stride playing good football after, week 9, after we play the Rams. We could be hitting our stride after that. Start with the Cincinnati game or the Giants game. I think it's Cincinnati and week number 11. The Giants are week 10. So, yeah. We'll see, right? We'll have a sense of who we are by week 8, but you can't, like DQ said, you shouldn't be playing your best football at the beginning of the year. You shouldn't be playing your best football at the middle of the year. You should be playing your best football at the end of the year, like we did in 2024. So we'll see, right? Smoking Joe's Flavor. I see what you did there. I don't think everybody else saw what you did with that. I see what you did right there. And I like it. I like it a lot. Bart Scott. Still can't mother effing wait. I love it. I couldn't make it yesterday and felt off with any content. We'll be at the draft and next year's event. It's all love, man. It's all love. I know it was probably crazy because all of our channels were dormant yesterday, which is probably rare. When's the last time there was a day that went by where all 4 kings didn't do a show? And again, there might have been some days, where everybody was just like, yeah, I'm good today. But that's such a rare occurrence. Somebody pops out, right? Does something. But yeah, now we were all in attendance, all together, and it was a blast, man. Those are my boys. Those are my brothers, man. Love those guys, man. And love all of y'all for supporting too. So it was epic. And I look forward to meeting you whenever you are able to get out to an event. Looking forward to meeting you and chopping it up with you as well, man. So shout out to you. JJ Forever. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, every single pizza I order is light cheese, extra sauce. Agree with Lou. Cheese is not, let me say that again. Let me rewind it. Cheese is not necessary. Don't knock it until you try it. Look, that's all I ever asked. And JJ's asking the same. Don't knock the hustle until you try it. That's it. You can try it and be like, yeah, this shit ain't for me. And it ain't for everybody. Okay? But what we not going to do is sit here and trash my cheeseless pizza as if this shit is the nastiest. This ain't liver. I ain't asking you to drink beet juice. Okay? And we're not going to carry it like it's such. Okay? My pizza, once again, my pizza ain't did nothing to nobody. And all I keep hearing is bop, 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 bop. If you tried it and you like, yeah, that shit ain't for me. That shit ain't it, Louie T. I can respect it. But you ain't tried it. You just look at looks can be deceiving. I know for a fact in your life at some point, you've seen some shit that did not look appetizing. And I will admit, my pizza does not always look the most appetizing, okay? I am totally willing to admit that, okay? But I'm pretty sure you've seen some shit that did not look the best presentation-wise. And you tried it, it was like, damn, this shit tastes a lot better than it looks. That's my pizza. You ever heard of the show, That's My Mama? That's my mama. That's my pizza. That's my pizza, man. It tastes a lot better than it looks. Thank you for the support, JJ, forever. It's probably me and you against the world, man. Even though you still technically have cheese on your pizza, you with me, man. I got to take whatever allies I can get in this fight, okay? So looks like it's me and you, bro. And I had a couple of vegans at the event that came all the way from El Paso, Texas. So, hey, we was in the building last night, well represented. I think it was like all of 3 of us, but we was represented. We was in the building. Stand up. Vegans, stand up. We was in the building last night. Smoking Joe's flavor. Stand up. Speaking of standing up, you are officially in the building. Mob, you know what to do. Show Smoking Joe's flavor some love. Welcome them with open arms. Welcome to the squad. Smoking Joe flavor. All right. Mr. Washington, 2108. Stand up. You are also the newest member of the MOBB Mob. You know what to do. Show Mr. Washington some love and welcome him to the squad with open arms and show him what it's like. That big hug for Mr. Washington. That big hug for Smoking Joe's flavor. Here comes the brand new flavor in your ear. Time for new flavor in your ear. I'm kicking new flavor in your ear because you're new, brand new members of the mob. All right? Welcome to the squad. All right? And on that note, we have reached our ending. Shout out to everybody that was at the event last night. It was epic. Another night that I will never forget. Me and the fellas were just talking about the love that was in the building last night. Oh my God, man. Can't get over that, man. It was just so much love from y'all. We felt it. And I hope that was permeated to y'all and reciprocated to y'all. And I hope y'all felt the love as well. And just the camaraderie amongst the base and having everybody in that space is just super dope. And I hope those of you who weren't able to attend this time will be able to attend next time. But shout out to everybody that was able to attend. And I'm looking forward to talking about the event some more because we're going to do that over on the King's channel, you know, here over the next day or two. And we're going to continue to talk about this team, this offensive line, this center position. Another practice tomorrow. Then you got the joint practice against the Ravens on Wednesday. And then we're off to the Friday preseason game. And then we trim the roster down to 53, and then it begins. Ready or not, here the season comes. You can't hide, right? So until next time, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. You guys, y'all know what it is, man. Post up. Take command. Love y'all, man. Peace. Day 16 of Training Camp Confidential in the books.